Welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Today, we have a Pokemon video. To be very honest with you all, I don't have a passion for Pokemon. I never have. I enjoyed it as a kid. But I continue to discuss it on this channel because, simply put, you all blow my inbox up, and patrons always ask me, and you guys let me know every time something major happens. And, I've never been I didn't like the gameplay of Pokemon when I was a kid. Most kids didn't play it. I'm still not a huge fan of. My favorite thing of Pokemon is obviously the sealed boxes and how the data and the history and the stability, the long-term growth of it, as pretty much something to park money in and to sell boxes to you all and patrons, and for me to keep a bunch and ride the wave up. That's really what I love about Pokemon. It's just a beautiful thing, and when a company just does such a good job, it's just a beautiful thing. So today, the point of this video is we have our very first Scarlet Violet era standard booster box success story. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. P appears to be the number one. So obviously we have Scarlet Violet base. We're not talking about specialty 151. We have Scarlet Violet base. We have Paldea Evolved, also known in Rudy's world, Mr. P. No giggities. Pokemon video. Obsidian, also known as the Charizard set, going into our favorite, obviously, Paradox, and going forward to Temporal, and of course we're going to have the Eyes Wide Shut Twilight Masquerade pretty soon. Not creepy at all. So out of all the sets that have come out, obviously the negativity remains very high with Scarlet Violet, and out of nowhere in the last couple weeks, Mr. P Evolved is suddenly making a very dramatic move. So we have the first Scarlet Violet standard booster box that is now pushing about 120 plus tax for a booster box. So now we're actually about 130, 135 ship for the average person who wants a Mr. P box off the open market on TCG Player with shipping and tax. Of course, you can always go to the Pokemon Center and pay the 145 plus tax, I think it is. So I guess it's still about 160. I'm so burnt out of kind of talking about like Pokemon Sword and Shield era. I mean, I've done, 30 plus videos in the last 12 to 18 months talking about the Sword and Shield era. So it's kind of, I don't even enjoy making those type of videos anymore. I get more excited when, Cynthia Williams does something silly in the Magic world and Funko Pops moments like that are just cringe-worthy beauty that just naturally forms in the world, And I did think today, having this discussion regarding actually a Scarlet Violet box, having a big move was kind of a big deal. So I said, okay, we'll talk about this today. And yes, I know all the alt arts. We got little Queen Misty and we got all these kids. I'm not really into a lot of that in the meta, the cards, all the grading of these things. I'm not really into the Pokemon details of the chase single cards. I know many times when you see that flare up and some sort of secret this and that and alt art this and that and some sort of waifu, wafu, chickadoo, when I understand that drives a lot of the movement of the sealed boxes that contain those cards, but again, for me, I've told you all for the last 9 years on this YouTube channel, I've been doing this crap so long, it's kind of boring to me. Pokemon, like I have more of a passion for things like Weiss and Fab and Sorcery. Like I like those type of alternative non-magic card games more, but Pokemon is just such a behemoth. And the Pokemon company of the corporate people of Pokemon just fucking do such a good job. Like, it was like when I did the last call video. Seriously, let's see how many of y'all listen. If you go on YouTube, type in I don't even know, Alpha Investments, Pokemon Last Chance. And you'll see like a video from me from like 4, 5, 6 months ago when they did the reprint of something, or not reprint. Or when the prices tanked, was it 6 months ago? Or was it? I don't remember. Time's a blur to me. Of like Silver Tempest, Lost Origins, and everybody just freaked the hell out. And it's just boring to me at this point. And it's one of those things where I guess this is a big moment because Scarlet Violet has a set that's actually going up quickly, and nobody thought it was possible. And no, don't ask me, don't send me a message, don't blow up my inbox. I'm not selling you any Scarlet Violet Mr. P sets. I offered it to patrons at release. I had it for many months after that. Nobody bought it. I've got a large position. Hey, look, it's going up. And if you're interested in Scarlet Violet, Mr. P, you can go on TCG Player, buy from an LGS. That's my personal attitude towards it because, simply put, it's like we're getting ready to go into this Twilight Masquerade release. Just like Temporal, just like Paradox, these things come out. Some distributors charge $98 wholesale for a Pokemon box. And ripoff Rudy, R squared, don't forget it, will sell cases by, which breaks down to, case for $600 or maybe $660. So like 99 shipped, 109 shipped. And yet, no matter what I say or do, you will always see people kind of have that twitch reaction of, I found a place in the left cave in Zelda Part 2. That dealer's selling them for $93 a box, Rudy. It doesn't matter. And, if you're chasing that kind of slim margin, you don't see the big picture of what these people have been doing this a long time. People like me and other stores, you don't see it. You don't see the potential in the behemoth that Pokemon is. And you're spending your dollars chasing pennies. And you've got the wrong perspective on this. So my opinion is Mr. P is making a move. It does look like now by the time we hit the next 6 months into Q4 of this year, it does look like Mr. P is probably going to be at the full 150, 160 range, which will hit parity, or as I call it, par value in Pokemon to Pokemon Center pricing. Now, I'm not sure why people quote Pokemon Center as like 144 or 146 or 150 or 160. You guys know, it doesn't matter if it's 150, 160, whatever, but I would post price increase. It doesn't really matter because you still have to pay tax usually. Some people even pay shipping depending on the order size. It's, this is a thing where, like people want me to do follow-up videos right now on Silver Tempest making a big move up. And people are now asking me to do, Rudy, Battle Styles, it's about to boom, it's about to shoot, it's about to go to the moon. I don't know, I don't really like the idea of making a video on every single Pokemon set because it's all the same thing. I should just take the video I film, edit out the name of the box, change the name. Hello, today my name is Rudy. And then just have everything else the same. And today we're talking about we have Lost Origins going to the moon. All right, edit it out. Today we have Paradox going to the moon. Like, there's no point. Like, it's the same redundant thing, but just people refuse to accept it. We're going through with Magic the Gathering right now, everybody. We came through a 2-year bear market, all sealed products dead, and now all of a sudden, all the sealed product is reinflating in price. We have all the sealed new Magic draft and collectors doing incredibly well. Massive recoveries across the board. We even have older sealed product in Magic. I'm not going to rant on Magic in this video, but we have older, even look at the Master set. Look at Commander Masters. Look at all this stuff. Look at the reprint sets in Magic. All of them, straight up. And it's like double Masters. And it's, so today on this video where we talk about the first gotcha, I told you so, I don't know, whatever you guys want to say, for a Scarlet Violet, it's Mr. P. Paldea Evolved turned out to be the winner of round 1 in the race. So Paldea may have won the first race of Scarlet Violet era, but I assure you all, you haven't seen anything yet. And the long-term race, they may have won this round, but we'll see how things unfold. Because again, we have a lot of moving data points, okay? Scarlet Violet base, it was overprinted coming off of the Sword and Shield era. And everybody hates it. It's going to go, I'm not touching until it goes to 60 a box. Scarlet Violet base is 90 to 100. Mr. P is now pushing 120, 130s with tax and shipping. You have Charizard Obsidian, probably, I didn't check that one, but I assume that's around the 110. And then, of course, you got people saying Paradox is trash. And Paradox looks pretty stable. There's a pattern to all this stuff. And when you've done it so long, my positions in these sealed cases are just so massive and so long. I've done this for so many years. And I've been rolling it and running the same business model, even with Patreon and you guys and YouTube for 9 years publicly. Okay? And guess what? With a new Twilight coming up in a week, I'm on the books. I'm going to tell you, I went hardcore because I'm so bullish on Scarlet Violet, and I know my patrons, you all, aren't going to buy a lot of it. And again, there's no money selling it like at release. So, like right now, I think I'm estimated, there's no way I'm going to sell out the new Pokemon set coming in a week or so. I think I'm around 4,000 boxes. okay, of the infamous Eyes Wide Shut Pokemon Twilight Masquerade. I expect patrons are probably going to buy maybe 1,000 to 1,500 boxes from me. With high inflation, lower spend rates of individuals, and simply put, everybody knows buying like a case of Twilight from Rudy, even if you pay $109 a box or something, or even if it's a case down to $105 or whatever the numbers finalize at, versus even a couple boxes for $109 or $99 or whatever it is. It doesn't matter because most people know if I buy this from any store or Rudy or any basement dweller, the price isn't really going to move for many months. So right now, the mindset of most consumers who have limited spend rates, reduced purchasing power based on the economy and our amazing government and how well it's ran. Oh God, it made me sick just saying it. And there's no way that these individuals are going to spend heavy on a new Scarlet Violet set. Right now, all the messages I'm getting on anything Pokemon related, a little bit about the new Pokemon Twilight set, but most of every message is on a daily basis. I'd say at least 5-10 patrons a day, which again is still a very, very, very small amount of you all. It's just, Rudy, can I get a case of Fusion? Can I get a case of Chill? I think number one is people asking me for a case of Lost Origins right now. Number two would be Chilling. And now I'm seeing an uptick in people asking about things like Fusion and Brilliant. And all of a sudden, the last 48 hours, people just start asking me now about buying cases privately of Silver Tempest. And I'm like, that's how I can tell. I know when things are moving, and I know suddenly, and again, like now that these boxes are like 200 plus in the Sword and Shield era, now everybody's like, well, I guess I got to go back and buy it. And it's like, we have the new Twilight coming out. Okay? We got the new Eyes Wide Shut Masquerade with Pokemon. You can buy a case from me or any LGS. And the boxes are going to be what, 100? 110? 111? 108 a box? They're so cheap. It's 2024. And you can buy these boxes all day long for almost $100. Even if you go to your local LGS and pay $120, $130, it's still a good price. And it's like, well, crap. Lost Origins up to 200 something a box. Yeah, it's time to pay double. Now I'm interested. It's so fascinating how the human psyche will always remain negative and bearish. And then once that momentum hits, everybody changes, like flips on a fucking dime. And that's where we're at. So, final opinion, you all. Mr. P, we have our first leader of Scarlet Violet era that nobody said was possible. Yeah, I think it goes to the 150s and probably levels out until Pokemon Center runs out, probably like in a year. Honestly, people are asking me, is it going to get a small reprint, Rudy? I don't know. I'm not sure because my theory is Pokemon Center is going to be kind of pegging, giggity, that particular price point of that 150s, 160s for quite a while. And depending how many pallets the Pokemon Center themselves have is going to dictate whether or not they do a reprint. My opinion, there is a possibility we do have a small reprint of Mr. P in the future. Doesn't mean anything whether they do or don't. All it's going to do is adjust the rate of change. Okay? Look at Evolving Skies. We had the main release of Evolving Skies. There was a small second wave. And then the final super tiny third wave that barely anybody got. I think I got one case or something stupid. After that, like a year later. Okay? Every time an extra wave hit, the price never collapsed. But when the wave hit, it stopped the momentum from going up. It stalls it. You're taking something that's shooting up, you're putting ice water on it, and you're leveling it out. And then once it warms up again, it starts to move up again. And the only thing that can change that type of trajectory or type of market behavior, a bull market, is if the buyers, the bids, back away. And as time moves forward, the bids get stronger. See, it's a very different animal compared to Magic the Gathering, compared to Flesh and Blood, compared to Weiss, even the new guys, the One Piece and Lorcan and everything. Pokemon operates different, okay? The actual demand of Pokemon increases as the time increases under the belt. Oh, drink too many. Oh. Anyways, so the more months and years that are under the belt of a Pokemon set, the equal amount of increasing demand builds. It's super weird. You would think it'd be the other way around. It's so cheap, everybody would just buy it up. And I expect the same thing with Twilight Masquerade. So my opinion is Twilight Masquerade, normal release. Most people won't give a shit. No one's going to pay attention. Temporal, the set before, we had a huge reduction in print run, a lot more limited supply. Again, I've run, if you do data scraping, you look at eBay, You don't even need to do Davis. Just pick up a flipping calculator on your phone. Go on a TCG player. You add up every single quantity of boxes that are listed for like temporal, okay? And then you add up every single quantity of boxes listed for Paradox or Scarlet Violet base. And you can see the differences. They're subtle, but they're there. You can see that there's a less quantity of certain products and more quantity of others. And of course, that data can be manipulated, and some people can just put crazy numbers, or they can, what they do, circuit breakers and shield their quantity by only putting a few at a time. But overall, you can feel the trend difference, okay? Like temporal, severely underpriced. It's kind of funny. Same thing. Paradox Rift, worst set ever. This thing's never going to do anything. I was going to say it, but I'll say it anyways. Paradox Rift, Paradox shit. The Paradox shit set. I'm like, Scarlet Violet. Oh God. Oh yeah, the base set of the base set of the block, the worst. I'm like, it's the same thing. I remember when Sun and Moon base came out. Like it was so rejected. Oh God, here it is, the base set of each one. Same with Sword and I remember XY base set. Same thing. I didn't even offer that one to patrons or sell that product because I got some cases and I was like, everybody was so negative on it. I didn't even think I could sell the box for $69, $79 a box. It's to the point now of 2024. It's such a predictable animal. To me, like I said, I find it boring at this point. There's no challenge. To me, this whole thing has no excitement anymore. I'm going to report on it to you all because you want me to, and you guys always let me know when some big swing happens in prices. But I don't see the thrill when it's this predictable. To me, like I see Silver Tempest making a jump from the 110s, 120s, and Silver Tempest on eBay or TCG Player is like back to 150s, 160, maybe 170 with tax or something. And I'm like, and I've disclosed I've showed you the pallets and stuff, and I've got probably 1,500 boxes of Silver Tempest, okay? And I remember when the reprint happened, and that's where I got most of mine at the end, and I didn't even try to sell it, didn't even try to run a patron sale on it, because I knew everyone's going to be like, oh no, I found a local guy cheaper than you, Rudy. I knew you were a scumbag. Fuck it, I just keep it. And now when I see this big swing, and now when I see Silver Tempest before Christmas and the end of the year is going to be probably 200 plus a box, and it's just kind of one of these things like, wow, gee, who could have seen it coming? It's a situation where if you strip the emotion out, you look at this as strictly a raw data, raw past behavior, tens, on Wall Street, past performance doesn't predict future results, blah, 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 not FDIC insured, may lose value, that whole disclaimer you have to read. I used to have to read that shit as a broker every day. And, it's, with Pokemon, it's just like, I guess there's a point you can see in like comments and other YouTubers, you can see the people who've done this for like 5, 10, 15 years. And you can see the people who are very short-term, the flippers, very emotional, very erratic, very wound up about it. And you can kind of get a vibe for everybody. It's the same thing with money, right? You can tell the people who hit it, or, man, Rudy, I hit it big. I made $100,000 on this whole thing I did. I flipped this. I made $1 million. And you can see them all wound up, maybe drinking and smoking and all cool and acting all wound. They're all jittery and excited. You can feel the people who've just come into money versus people who have wealth or have built something dramatic. The behavior is very different. The mannerisms of how they speak and how they handle money becomes very different. To me, it usually stands out like a sore thumb, okay? And that's how I view Pokemon. I can tell the Poke-tubers and the YouTuber and people who are new to Pokemon, who seem to get all flamboyant and round up when something swings. I mean, I can make a video almost every day of something spiking in Pokemon. Pokemon is in a bull market, okay? You may not feel like it. Sword and Shield, I will say it for the 4,000th fucking time. Every box of Sword and Shield is going to be over $500. Okay, maybe Battle Styles is like $450. But, all that stuff is going to go way up. It's a glorious era of Pokemon that the market has already decided is going to be the pinnacle of like this COVID baby era of an amazing just design of Pokemon. And yes, anybody remember, does anybody remember a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2021, 2022? Oh, the headlines. Pokemon prints 2 billion cards. Billion with the B! 2 billion Pokemon cards were printed in COVID or something. Or in 2021, was it? Remember all the headlines? And that was reinforcing. See, Rudy, I'm backing away. Look, I know Fusion Strike's coming out. I know Astral's coming out. I know I'm just not going to buy it. I'm still going to support you, Rudy, on Patreon so I can talk to you. We get the videos. It's all still worth a couple pennies. But you know what? I'm not going to buy these things because there's too much. It's artificial scarcity. There's not enough to go around. I've heard it all. I've seen it all. And yes, those are facts. Pokemon printed 2 billion cards. Magic probably printed 3 billion cards. And guess what? 99% of those cards are worthless bulk. So if you want to literally just take a raw number and use it as a blinking headline, you can take it out of context and you can freak the fuck out. You can freak people out. Okay? If you want to actually add context, add details, and actually say, okay, wait a minute, let's discuss this, okay? How many sets were there? How many reprints were there? Wait a minute, how many of these cards are in supplemental products? How many of these were starter things and toolkits and trainer? Wait. And then wait a minute. Okay, if 99% of cards are just not even rares or not even special alt art hidden things, what percentage of cards are those? So wait a minute, is it like a 10th or 100th of 1% of those billion cards are useful? It gets very complicated. And then when you layer on the other side of the teeter-totter, which is the demand side, Pokemon is one of, if not the biggest brand of IP value, intellectual property. It is the biggest brand, one of the most recognizable things on the fucking planet, okay? It is estimated that there's a couple billion humans. It is estimated that at least 50% of the humans on this planet, okay, that can speak and have made it through, elementary school, I didn't, can literally identify that, what a Pikachu is or what the Pokemon logo is. It is outrageous. Now, I don't know if there's truth to that or not. Even if it's too high or it doesn't matter. The point is, it is such a powerful brand, okay? Even if 2 billion cards, even if 1/10 of 1% of those are desirable chase cards, or 100th of 1% are some sort of alt art hidden thing, and one in every so many boxes or whatever, it's still, when you divide that up based on demand, quantity of humans, how many make it, how many actually get lost in the mail, destroyed, damaged, stolen, remove the bulk, remove the supplemental, and you keep adjusting that all the way down to the actual booster box or something. The raw number of 2 billion is what I like to call a Fugazi number. It's a shock factor number to make you feel a certain way, when in reality data points can be very taken out of the context matters so much, everybody. That's really my point of this. It's, Magic's going through it right now. We're 6 months into a Magic the Gathering new market cycle, and I would say 80 to 90% of the player, collector, evil investor base of Magic still refuses to accept how good new Magic is doing. And that's why I continue to deploy record amounts of resources buying new sealed Magic. I am buying 90%, let's put it this way. For every $100,000, $95,000 of that 100,000 I am deploying into new sealed Magic, and only 5% of that 100,000, in other words, you take a pie, only 5% is going to vintage collections and things when they come along. That is how bullish I am, because I know how bearish and stupid other people are. And by the time they see the tilt, it'll be like Sword and Shield era, where now it's like, well, I better buy a case of Lost Origins before it goes to $2,000-$3,000 a case, because people aren't interested until way after the market reprices and the smart money has already been made. Yes, Sword and Shield and Scarlet Violet have a lot more to run. There's a lot of opportunity for anyone out there, but at the same time, you got to understand the smart money has been in this for years, and they're way ahead of the curve. It's not going to change that these things are going to keep moving because they're in a bull market, but just understand, while everybody's fighting over expensive Sword and Shield, which are still opportunity, right now, nobody is going after Scarlet Violet base. I would say nobody's going after Mr. P, but now everybody wants Mr. P because it's already moving. Nobody's going after Obsidian Charizard set. People think Paradox shit is useless. Those are the items I am adding to. If I can get these in clearance or stores that need capital, and you want to sell to Rudy for 1.1 cent on the dollar, I will continue to add to my mountains, or heavy bags, or whatever terminology on the internet wants to use. But this is just the world we're in. Okay? What do they say? Time has a funny way of transferring wealth to the more patient people. You know? Have a beautiful day, guys. Thanks for listening, everyone.